evening seeker. Welcome to the Midnight Observatory. I am Morgana, your archivist, your guide through the velvet dark. Tonight, the air is heavy with old paper, with secrets that were meant to dissolve, to be forgotten. But nothing truly disappears. Not when it's been carved into vellum. Not when it's been whispered in basements. Not when blood and ink have merged on parchment that still smells of fear. Before we descend into tonight's investigation, let me acknowledge those who have crossed the threshold, those who have chosen to walk with us through the architecture of forbidden knowledge. Here on this wall of black stone, 100 names will be carved, the obsidian etching. The first 100 seekers who arrived when this observatory was still hidden, when its doors were barely visible. Ron, your name rests here now, second from the top, in letters that catch no light. Alina, yours curves like smoke in the top row. Bruce, carved deep as you requested. And Michelle, yours appears at dawn angles, visible only when the candle tilts just. So, if you are new to this chamber, and you wish your name, or rather, the name of a historical figure you wish to inhabit, to be etched into this wall, you need only speak it into the void below. Leave it in the comments. Tell me, are you Hypatia? Are you Paracelsus? Are you someone history has not yet named? The first 100 will be carved. The rest will know they arrived when the doors had already opened. But there is no shame in that. Some knowledge is meant to be shared. Now, let your shoulders drop. Feel the weight of the day begin to dissolve. We are safe here. The windows are closed. The world outside has no claim on this hour. Tonight, we investigate something dangerous. Something that has been burned, banned, and buried across 5 centuries. 9 books. 9 authors who paid dearly for what they knew. And one question that connects them all. Can a human being, using only the architecture of their mind, reshape the external world? Not through wishful thinking, not through affirmations whispered into bathroom mirrors, but through something older, something the church called heresy, something the crown called treason, something the universities called madness. I call it the technology of manifestation. And if you listen closely, if you allow your breath to slow, if you permit your eyelids to grow heavy as we turn these pages together, you may come to understand why these books were never meant to survive. The first text rests in my hands now. It is small, deceptively so. 24 pages. Published in 1564. The title in Latin reads Mona's Hieroglyphica, the hieroglyphic monad. Its author was John Dee. You may know him as the court astrologer to Queen Elizabeth, a mathematician, a navigator who charted the routes that would build an empire. But that is the surface, the acceptable face. What they do not tell you is that John Dee spent his life attempting to decode the language of God, to find the single symbol that contained all creation. And in this book, he claimed to have found it. The pages are brittle now. They smell of salt air and old leather. There is a fingerprint on the margin of page 7, brown, oxidized. Someone held this page for a long time. Someone who was afraid, perhaps, or perhaps someone who understood. Let your jaw relax. Let your tongue rest heavy in your mouth. We are moving slowly tonight. There is no rush. Sleep will find you when it is ready. Dee's symbol, the monas, is a glyph, a geometric figure. At first glance, it looks like a combination of alchemical symbols. The circle of the sun, the crescent of the moon, the cross of the elements, the sign of Aries, the ram, the beginning. But Dee did not see it as a symbol. He saw it as a key, a focal point for the mind, a shape that, when held in the inner eye, when traced in the darkness behind your closed lids, could open a channel between thought and form. Close your eyes now, if you haven't already. Imagine this, a circle, luminous and soft, like the moon reflected in still water. At the top of the circle, a crescent. Below the circle, a cross. And at the base of the cross, two curved horns like the letter V tipped on its side. This is the monad. Hold it there. Let it glow faintly in the void. Do not strain. Let it simply rest. Dee believed that by meditating on this shape, by allowing it to imprint itself on the soul, you could access what he called the celestial hierarchies, the layers of reality that exist between thought and matter, the place where intention becomes substance. He did not call this manifestation. He called it theurgy, divine work, the shaping of the clay of existence. But here is what they do not tell you. Here is why this book was dangerous. Dee did not just theorize. He tested. In his diaries, most of which were destroyed, he recorded experiments. Rituals performed at specific celestial hours. The monad drawn in chalk, in blood, in mercury, and objects appearing. Small things at first. A coin, a key, a ring that had been lost. Then larger things, opportunities, audiences with the Queen, funding for voyages that should never have been approved. Forgive me. My throat grows dry when I speak of these things. The tea tonight is chamomile and valerian root. It smells of earth and sleep. You may imagine the scent if you wish. Let it fill your lungs. Let it quiet the noise in your mind. Dee's work did not end well. You must understand this. He died in poverty. His library, 4,000 volumes, the largest in England, was burned by a mob who believed he trafficked with demons. His journals were scattered. Most were lost. But the monas survived, copied in secret, passed through underground networks of scholars and mystics. And if you search carefully, if you know where to look, you can still find it. You can still trace the glyph. You can still attempt to open the door he opened. Let us linger here for a moment. Dee did not just leave us the monad. He left us the ethers. 30 layers of reality, like the skins of an onion. He believed that to manifest something truly great, one had to travel through these layers in the mind. Imagine you are standing at the edge of a great, dark lake. This is the first ether. The water is still. The air is cold. You step onto the water and it holds you. You walk toward the center. And as you do, the world behind you fades. The trees, the shore, the sky, all dissolve into a gray mist. You are in the void, the place before the monad, the place where all things are possible because nothing yet exists. Feel the weightlessness of this space. Your body is not a body anymore. It is a point of light, a single pulsing spark in the infinite dark. In this spark, place your intention, not as a word, not as a sentence, but as a feeling. The feeling of having already arrived, the warmth in the chest, the quiet smile, the sigh of relief. Hold it there. Let the monad glow around this feeling. Let the circle protect it. Let the crescent nourish it. Let the cross ground it. Dee would sit for hours in his observatory, his eyes fixed on a black obsidian mirror, waiting for the spark to catch. We do not need the mirror. We have the darkness behind our lids. We have the slow, rhythmic pulse of our own hearts. But there is a cost. There is always a cost. Let your breathing deepen now. In through the nose, slow and cool. Out through the mouth, warm and heavy. Feel your body sinking. The mattress beneath you is soft. You are held. You are safe. The monad glows faintly in the dark, and you do not need to do anything with it. Just let it be. Before we move to the second book, let us take a moment to walk through the gates that Dee described. The gates of the ethers. Imagine you are standing before a gate made of solid sapphire. It is cold to the touch. It is the gate of the first ether. As you approach, the sapphire begins to glow. It begins to pulse with the light of the monad. The gate opens, not outward, but inward. You step through, and you are in a place where the air is made of music. Every breath you take is a note. Every thought you have is a chord. In this place, there is no time, There is only the eternal now, the place where the seed and the flower exist at the same moment. Look at your intention here. See it not as a future goal, but as a present reality. It is already blooming in the sapphire light. Feel the peace of this place, a peace that passes all understanding, a peace that is your birthright. Archival note, 12:45 a.m. The wind is picking up outside. It rattles the shutters, but it cannot come in. I wonder if Dee heard the same wind in his house in Mortlake. I wonder if he felt the same stillness in his heart when he looked at the monad. There is a peace that comes from knowing the structure of things, a peace that comes from realizing that you are not at the mercy of the world, that you are the architect, that you are the observer, that you are the key. The second book is heavier. I must use both hands to lift it. The cover is black calfskin, cracked with age. There are no words on the spine, only a symbol, a shadow within a shadow. This is intentional. This book was never meant to be found by accident. The title, embossed in faded gold on the first page, reads, De Umbris Idearum. On the shadows of ideas, the author was Giordano Bruno, burned at the stake, February 17th, 1600, in the Campo de' Fiori in Rome. They gagged him before they lit the fire, because even at the end, he would not stop speaking. He died for many heresies, but this book, this was the one they feared most, because Bruno discovered something the church could not allow. That memory is not passive, that the mind is not a mere recorder of events. That imagination, properly trained, is a force that can structure reality itself. Let me read you a passage. My finger traces the Latin, translating as I go. My voice is soft. Let it wash over you. You do not need to understand every word. Just let the rhythm carry you deeper. The shadows of ideas are not the ideas themselves, but they are the architecture by which ideas become form. To master the shadows is to master the threshold between the invisible and the visible. To build a palace in the mind is to build a palace in the world. Bruno called this the art of memory. But it was not about remembering grocery lists or names at parties. It was about constructing an internal cosmos, a cathedral within the skull, a place where every room, every object, every symbol corresponded to a principle, a desire, a future event. Here is how it worked. Listen closely, but do not tense. Let the words drift through you like smoke. You begin by imagining a building. It can be a palace, a temple, a house from your childhood. But it must be vivid. You must see the stone, feel the temperature of the air, hear your footsteps echo. Imagine it now, if your mind is still awake enough. A single hallway. At the end of the hallway, a door. The door is heavy. Oak, perhaps, with iron hinges that smell of rust and oil. You walk toward it, slowly. Your hand reaches for the handle. It is cold. You turn it. The door opens. Inside is a room. And in that room, you place an object that represents something you wish to bring into being, not abstractly, not as a vague hope, but as a thing, a book with a specific cover, a letter with a wax seal, a key that opens a specific door. You place it on a table. You examine it. You touch it. You memorize its weight, its texture, its scent. And then you leave the room. You close the door. You walk back down the hallway, and you return to waking life. But here is the secret Bruno understood. That object is no longer imaginary. It now exists in the only place that creation begins, in the shadow realm between thought and form. And if you return to that room again and again, in the silent hours, if you walk those halls with intention, the external world begins to conform. Opportunities arise. Synchronicities cluster. The book appears in a shop window. The letter arrives. The key is offered by a stranger. This is not magic, or rather, It is the only magic that has ever worked. The magic of structure, of inner architecture imposing itself on outer chaos. Let us go deeper into this palace. Do not just stand in the room. Walk to the window. The glass is thick, slightly uneven, like old cathedral windows. Look through it. What you see outside is not the world you left behind. It is the world as it will be. See the colors. Are they vibrant or soft, like a watercolor painting in the rain? See the people. They are moving as if they belong there. They are part of the architecture you have built. Now turn back to the table. The object you placed there, touch it again. This time, feel its temperature. Is it warm, as if it has been sitting in the sun? Or cool, like stone from a deep cellar? Bruno believed that by engaging all the senses within the mind, we create a shadow idea so dense, so heavy, that the material world has no choice but to gravitate toward it. Like a star forming in the center of a nebula, pulling the dust and gas into a sphere of light. You are that star. This room is your nebula. And every time you return here, the pull grows stronger. You do not need to fight. You do not need to scream at the universe to give you what you want. You simply need to keep the room clean. Keep the object on the table. Keep the window clear. Bruno believed that the universe was infinite and that every star was a sun, and every sun had its own planets, and every planet had its own life. He believed that we are not trapped in one world, but that we are citizens of the infinite. Close your eyes. Imagine you are floating in the space between the stars. It is not cold. It is not dark. It is a space filled with the Spiritus Mundi, the spirit of the world. Look around you. You see millions of spheres of light, each one a world, each one a possibility. One of those spheres is the world you currently inhabit. But look, just a few inches away is another sphere. It looks almost identical, but in this sphere, the thing you desire has already happened. In this sphere, you are the person you wish to be. You have the life you wish to have. You feel the way you wish to feel. Bruno taught that we can move between these spheres, not with our bodies, but with our imagination. Reach out your hand. Touch the surface of that other sphere. Feel the vibration of it. Let it merge with your own vibration. Slowly, the spheres begin to overlap. They become one. You are no longer in the old world. You are in the new one. It is that simple. It is that profound. Feel your limbs growing heavy now. Feel the room around you dissolving. You do not need to build a memory palace tonight, but perhaps you can imagine the doorway, just the doorway, standing at the end of a long, quiet hall, waiting for you. It will be there tomorrow, and the next night, and the next. Bruno died screaming behind a gag, but his method survived. Copied by secret students, preserved in monastic libraries, and now whispered to you here in the velvet dark. Archival note, 1:20 a.m. I am looking at the dust on my fingers. It is a fine gray powder. Fragments of paper, of leather, of skin. The physical remains of the books we have been discussing. Everything material eventually turns to dust. But the idea, the shadow idea that Bruno wrote about, that remains. It is the only thing that is truly permanent. The palace we are building in your mind tonight will outlast the stone of the observatory. It will outlast the names on the wall. It will outlast the night itself. The third text is not a book. It is 3 books bound as one. The binding is iron and brass, with clasps that require a key I keep on a chain around my neck. The pages are vellum scraped lambskin, and they rustle like dry leaves when I turn them. The title, in Latin Gothic script, barely legible, De Occulta Philosophia Libri Tres. 3 books of occult philosophy. The author, Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa von Nettesheim, born 1486, died 1535. Physician, soldier, theologian, magician. A man who wrote letters to kings and lived in attics. A man who claimed to have bound a demon as a servant and who was accused of witchcraft in 6 countries. This book is a manual, a technical document. It is not poetic like Bruno. It is not mystical like Dee. It is systematic, and that is what made it so dangerous. Because Agrippa divided the universe into 3 layers, 3 books, and provided step-by-step methods for working with each. Book 1, Natural Magic. The magic of herbs, stones, sounds, and symbols. The resonance of material objects. Book 2, Celestial Magic. The magic of planets, stars, and numbers. The mathematics of influence. Book 3, Ceremonial Magic. The magic of names, invocations, and the binding of spirits. The technology of will. Let me show you something. A passage from Book 1. I must use the glass to read it. The ink has faded, and the hand that copied this was shaking, perhaps from fear, perhaps from cold. Every object in the material world possesses a secret name. This name is not the word we use in common speech. It is the vibrational signature of the thing itself. To know this name, to speak it silently in the presence of the object, is to command it, to draw it toward you, to make it yield its properties. Agrippa provides examples. The secret name of gold is not gold. It is a sequence of vowels, A-E-O-O-U, vibrated in a specific tone, at a specific hour, under a specific celestial alignment. The secret name of rose quartz is a hum, low, resonant, felt in the chest before it is heard. The secret name of water is silence, the absence of sound, the pause between heartbeats. You do not need to memorize these. You do not need to perform rituals. But listen, there is a principle here, a principle that survives even when the specifics are lost. To manifest, you must first name. You must be specific. Not "I want love," but "I want a letter from a person whose handwriting slants to the left, sealed with red wax, arriving on a Thursday." Not "I want money," but "I want a check for $300 received before the 15th of the month as payment for work I have already completed." The more specific the name, the more the universe can locate the thing you are calling. Agrippa understood this. He understood that vague wishes dissolve into the ether, but a name, a true name, spoken with precision, cuts through the noise like a bell. Let your breath slow even further now. In 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Again. In, and you feel your chest rise. Out, and you feel your body settle deeper into the bed. There is a story about Agrippa. Near the end of his life, he was imprisoned in Brussels for debts he could not pay. He had no money, no patrons, no allies. And yet, within 3 days, a stranger arrived, a merchant he had never met. The merchant paid his debts in full, asked for nothing in return, and disappeared. When asked how this had happened, Agrippa smiled and said only, "I spoke the name." He died 2 weeks later. His books were placed on the index of forbidden texts within a decade. They remained banned until 1900, but monks copied them in secret. Scholars smuggled them across borders. And now, they sit here in my hands, their pages whispering the same instructions they whispered 500 years ago. Name the thing. Speak it into the dark. And wait. But Agrippa went further. He spoke of the cameas, the magic squares, grids of numbers where every row, every column, and every diagonal adds up to the same sum. He believed these were not just mathematical curiosities. He believed they were nets. Nets to catch the influence of the stars. the square of Jupiter for expansion, the square of Venus for harmony, the square of the sun for clarity. Close your eyes. Imagine a grid of 9 squares, 3 by 3. This is the square of Saturn, the square of lead, of time, of structure. In each square, a number glows with a dim purple light. 492, 357, 816. Do not try to remember the numbers. Just feel the balance of the grid, the way everything adds up to 15, the way the structure is perfect, unshakable. Agrippa would have you draw this grid on a plate of lead. We will draw it on the surface of our minds. Feel the weight of it. It's heavy, solid, providing the foundation for what you are building. Without a foundation, the manifestation is just a dream. With the camea, it is a blueprint. Let the grid sink into the darkness. Let it become part of the floor of your memory palace. You are standing on solid ground now. Agrippa also spoke of the anima mundi, the soul of the world. He believed that everything in nature, the trees, the stones, the animals, is connected to this soul, and that by connecting to the soul of a single object, we can connect to the soul of the whole. Imagine you are holding a small, smooth stone in your hand. It is a piece of quartz, clear and bright. Feel the coolness of it. Feel the weight of it. Now, imagine you can see inside the stone. Inside the crystal structure, you see a world of light and geometry. A world that is perfectly ordered, perfectly balanced. As you look, the stone begins to grow. It becomes a mountain. It becomes a planet. It becomes the universe itself. And yet, it is still just a stone in your hand. Agrippa taught that the small is the image of the great. By holding your intention as if it were this small, solid stone. You are holding the power of the universe. You do not need to command the mountain. You only need to hold the stone. Feel the stone dissolve into your palm. Feel its stability become your stability. Its order become your order. Name the thing. Speak it into the dark. And wait. Archival note, 2:45 a.m. The tea is almost gone. The leaves at the bottom of the cup form a shape that looks like a key, or perhaps a bird in flight. Agrippa would spend hours looking at the patterns in his tea, in the smoke from his hearth, in the way the frost formed on his windows. He knew that the universe is always speaking to us, always leaving clues. The problem is not that the universe is silent. The problem is that we have forgotten how to listen. We have forgotten how to see the signatures that he wrote about. But you are remembering. Every breath you take in this room is a step back toward that ancient memory. A step back toward the time when we knew that the name of a thing and the thing itself were the same. The tea is cool now. I sip it anyway. The silence between us is thick, like wool. You are drifting, I think. Your breathing has changed. That is good. That is what we are here for, to drift, to descend, to find the place where the mind releases its grip. The fourth book is the strangest. It is smaller than the others, bound in pale vellum that might once have been white, but is now the color of old bone. The spine is cracked. Pages have been removed carefully with a blade. Someone censored this text even after it was banned. The title in Latin, Steganographia. The hidden writing, the author, Johannes Trithemius, abbot of Sponheim. Born 1462, died 1516, a Benedictine monk, a man of God. And yet, this book was placed on the index before he even died, condemned as a grimoire, a manual for summoning demons. But here is the secret that took scholars 400 years to decode. Steganographia is not a book about summoning demons. It is a book about cryptography, about encoding messages so deeply that they appear to be something else entirely. And the demons Trithemius describes are not demons. They are frequencies, channels of transmission, ways of broadcasting thought into the ether, into the invisible field that surrounds all matter, so that the thought takes root and grows. He called them angels, angels of the air, spirits with names like Pamerseal, Padial, Emonial, and he provided elaborate instructions for invoking them, specific words, specific hours, specific gestures. But in the 1990s, a mathematician finally cracked the code, and beneath the invocations was a simple principle. To manifest, you must release, not push, not force, not grip your desire with white knuckles and demand that it appear, but let go. Whisper the intention once, clearly, specifically, and then dissolve it into the air. Trust that it has been heard. Trust that the ether, the field, the substrate, whatever you wish to call it, will carry the message to where it needs to go. Archival note 3:14 a.m. The candles are burning low now. The shadows in the corners of the room are growing longer, reaching toward the center. Trithemius would say these are the angels of the third hour. I say they are just the room breathing. Do you hear it? The way the house creaks. It is not the wood settling. It is the weight of all these secrets pressing down on the floorboards. It is the silence trying to find a way to speak. Trithemius called this steganographia hidden writing, because the message is hidden even from yourself. You write it once in the silent language of intent, and then you forget. You go about your life. You do not check your phone every 10 minutes. You do not ask, has it arrived yet? You simply continue, as if it has already happened, as if the outcome is so certain that there is nothing left to do. This is the hardest part, the part where most people fail. Because the mind wants to grip, to control, to know. But the mechanism of manifestation requires surrender. Trithemius spoke of something he called the lingua adamica, the language of Adam, or the language of the birds, a way of communicating that does not use words, but resonance. Imagine a bell, a large bronze bell hanging in a tower. You do not need to hit the bell to make it ring. You only need to sing the note that the bell is tuned to. If your voice is true, if the frequency is exact, the bell will begin to vibrate on its own. It will answer you. The universe is that bell. Your intention is the note. If you sing it with doubt, the bell remains silent. If you sing it with effort, with strain, the note is sharp and the bell stays still. But if you sing it with the quiet certainty of a bird singing at dawn, the universe has no choice but to vibrate in sympathy. Let the note resonate in your chest. A low, steady hum. A hum of completion. A hum of it is done. And then silence. The silence after the bell has been struck. The silence that contains the memory of the sound. This is the steganographia, the hidden writing in the air. Trithemius believed that we are always surrounded by spirits. But these spirits are not ghosts. They are the potentialities of the universe. They are the unformed possibilities, waiting for a word to give them shape. Imagine you are walking through a dense, white fog. You cannot see your hand in front of your face. You cannot see the ground beneath your feet. There is only the white, silent mist. This mist is the prima materia, the raw substance of creation. Every person you have ever met, every object you have ever owned, every event you have ever experienced was once just a part of this fog. Now, whisper your intention into the mist. Just once. Watch as the fog begins to swirl around the sound of your voice. It begins to condense. It begins to take on a shape. You do not need to do anything else. You do not need to sculpt it. You do not need to hold it together. The word you spoke is the center of gravity. The mist will continue to gather around it until it is solid, until it is real. Turn away from the mist now. Walk back out of the fog. Trust that the process is continuing behind you. Trust that when you wake, the mist will have cleared, and the thing you named will be standing there. Let me read you an invocation, not because I want you to memorize it, but because the rhythm, the cadence, will help you descend. Pammerseal, angel of the first hour, I speak into your keeping this single thought. I release it now into the currents of the invisible. I do not ask when. I do not ask how. I ask only that it be carried, and that I be allowed to rest. Feel those words. Feel the release. Like opening your hand and letting a bird fly. Like exhaling after holding your breath too long. Trithemius understood something profound. He understood that the universe, the ether, the field, the mind of God, whatever name satisfies you, is not deaf. It is not indifferent, but it cannot respond to grasping. It can only respond to openness, to space, to silence. And so the final instruction hidden in the text is this: after you speak the intention, sleep. Deep, dreamless, trusting sleep. Because sleep is the ultimate release. Sleep is the state in which the conscious mind steps aside and the deeper machinery of reality begins to work. You are so close to that state now. I can feel it. Your eyelids are heavy. Your limbs are sinking. The words I am speaking are becoming distant, like voices heard from another room. And that is perfect. That is exactly where you should be. Trithemius died peacefully in his bed, surrounded by his monks. His book was banned, but it was never destroyed. It was too useful. Nobles used it to send secret messages. Spies used it to encode intelligence. And mystics used it to broadcast their deepest desires into the void, and then to fall asleep, trusting that the angels or the field or the quantum foam would do the rest. Now, let us draw these 4 threads together. 4 books, 4 men, 4 methods, and beneath them, a single map. John Dee gave us the symbol, the monad, the focal point for the inner eye, the shape that opens the channel. Giordano Bruno gave us the architecture, the memory palace, the internal structure that allows thought to organize itself into form. Agrippa gave us the language, the secret names, the precision of speech that allows desire to become specific, locatable, real. And Trithemius gave us the release, the surrender, the trust that allows the mechanism to complete its work without interference. Together, they form a single practice, a practice that has no name, because it was never meant to be taught openly. But if I were to name it now, I would call it the architecture of intentional sleep. You do not manifest while you are awake, straining, visualizing, affirming. You manifest in the threshold, in the hypnagogic state, in the space between waking and sleeping, where the mind is lucid, but the ego is dissolving. That is where the monad glows brightest. That is where the memory palace feels most real. That is where the secret names can be whispered without effort. And that is where the release becomes total. So tonight, as you drift, I invite you to experiment, not with force, not with effort, but with noticing. Notice the darkness behind your closed eyes. Notice the weight of your body. Notice the slow, steady rhythm of your breath. And in that noticing, allow a single, simple image to arise. Not a wish, not a prayer, just an image, a symbol, a shape, a doorway. Hold it there. gently, like holding a snowflake on your palm. Do not grip it. Do not demand that it do anything. Just let it exist. Let it glow softly in the dark, and then let it dissolve. Let it melt into the blackness. Let it go, because you have planted it in the only soil where such things can grow. In the shadow realm, in the ether, in the space between thought and form. And now you can rest. My tea is empty. The candle has burned low. The wax has pooled at the base, and the flame flickers, small now, barely holding on. You are held now. You are safe. The books are closed. The scrolls are rolled. The vault is sealed. And you are dissolving into sleep, deep, restful, dreamless sleep. If you wake in the night, you may notice something, a thought floating at the edge of your awareness, an image, a feeling. Do not chase it. Simply observe it, and then let it go again. Back into the dark, back into the threshold, because the work is not done by you. The work is done through you, by the deeper intelligence that moves beneath consciousness, by the field, by the architecture of reality itself. Your breath is so slow now, so heavy. In and out, in and out, like waves on a distant shore, like the tide pulling back into the sea. I will stay with you a little longer, not speaking, just present, watching over you as the candle burns, as the night deepens, as you sink further and further into the velvet dark. There is nothing you need to do. There is nothing you need to remember. There is only this moment, this breath, this slow, sweet descent into rest. The monad glows faintly behind your eyes and then fades. The memory palace stands at the end of a long hallway, but you do not need to enter it tonight. The secret names are whispered into the air and then dissolve into silence. And the angels, the frequencies, the currents of the invisible carry your intention into the ether, where it will grow roots you cannot see. All you must do is sleep. Sleep, seeker, sleep deeply, sleep well. The books are still here. They will be here tomorrow. And the next night, and the next. They are patient. They have waited 500 years. They can wait one more day. But you cannot wait. Your body is calling you down into rest, into restoration, into the place where all true work is done. And so I release you now. I release you into the care of the night, into the care of your own deeper knowing, into the care of the invisible forces that hold all things, and let nothing fall. Breathe, soften. Let go. The candle flickers, the flame bends, and now it stills. You are safe. You are held. You are descending. Good night, seeker. Rest now. The vault is closed. The work is done. And you are sleeping, sleeping deeply, completely, safely. Rest. The silence is your home now. Every breath takes you deeper, deeper than before, sinking into the velvet, sinking into the dark. Your mind is a quiet room, a room with no windows, a room with no doors, just the soft glow of the monad, fading into the peace. It's heavier now. Your shoulders, your arms, your legs, all heavy, all still. But our journey through the forbidden library is not yet complete. There are more layers to the dark, more voices that refuse to be silenced. The fifth text is older than the others. It comes to us from the golden age of the Islamic world, though its roots are even older, reaching back to the Hellenistic magic of Alexandria. The title is Gayat, Al letter 1E25Ki macron M. The goal of the wise. But in the West, it is known by a name that whispered through the courts of kings and the cells of alchemists, the Picatrix. This is not a book for the faint of heart. It is a grimoire of astral magic a massive compilation of 400 pages, written originally in Arabic in the 10th century. It was translated into Spanish and then Latin in the 13th century at the request of King Alfonso the Wise. Why was it banned? Because it claimed that the heavens are not just distant lights, but a living engine. An engine that can be tapped. An engine that can be directed. Listen to what the author, Maslama al-Majridi, tells us. The stars are the spirits of the universe. Their rays are the threads from which the material world is woven. To know the stars is to know the loom. To master the timing is to master the weave. The Picatrix is obsessed with timing. It teaches that manifestation is not just about what you want, but when you ask for it. There are moments when the gate is open, moments when the moon is in a specific mansion, when Mars is at a specific angle, when the air itself is charged with a particular potential. Imagine the sky as a vast celestial clock. Most people live their lives ignoring the clock. They plant in the winter and wonder why nothing grows. They speak into the storm and wonder why they are not heard. But the Picatrix student waits. They wait for the hour of Jupiter to ask for wealth. They wait for the hour of Venus to ask for love. They wait for the moment of the eclipse to release what no longer serves them. The candle flickers. The light is low. Let your eyes close again. Imagine you are standing on a high balcony. The sky above you is black, but it is filled with thousands of tiny silver threads descending from the stars. One of those threads is yours. It is the thread of your intention. Feel it vibrating in the air. It is connected to a star that you cannot see, but that you can feel. A star that is perfectly aligned with what you desire. You do not need to pull the thread. You only need to touch it. Gently, with the tip of your finger, feel the spark of celestial energy travel down the thread, through your arm, into your heart. This is the secret of the Picatrix. You are not alone in your manifestation. You are part of a cosmic alignment. The stars are working with you. The universe is helping you weave the pattern. In the Picatrix, there is a practice called the conjunction of the heart and the star. It is a way of creating a bridge between the microcosm and the macrocosm. Imagine you are lying on a bed of warm sand. The ocean is nearby. You can hear the waves. But your attention is on the sky. It is a night of absolute clarity. No moon. Only the stars. Find one star that seems to call to you. It might be a bright, pulsing white star, or a soft blue one, or a steady golden one. Focus all your attention on that star. As you breathe in, imagine you are drawing the light of the star into your chest. As you breathe out, imagine you are sending the warmth of your heart back to the star. In and out. The star and your heart begin to pulse at the same rate. You are no longer two separate things. You are a single circuit of light. Now, place your intention into this circuit. Let it travel between you and the star. Let the star charge the intention with its ancient celestial power. Let it become as bright as the star itself. When you feel the connection is complete, let the image fade. Trust that the bridge remains. Trust that the star is now working on your behalf, even when you are not looking at it. The tea is cold, but the air is warm. Let your breathing remain slow. In and out. You are becoming part of the weave. You are becoming part of the sky. The sixth book is perhaps the most demanding. It is a text that requires not just study, but transformation. The title, The Book of the Sacred Magic of Abraham Lynn the Mage. This manuscript, dating back to the 15th century, tells the story of Abraham of Worms, who traveled to Egypt to find a mysterious sage named Abraham Lynn. What he found was a system of manifestation so powerful and so dangerous that it was kept hidden for centuries. The Abraham Lynn operation is not a weekend ritual. It is a 6-month, sometimes 18-month process of purification. It is a complete withdrawal from the world, a descent into the silence of the self. Why such a long process? Because Abraham Lynn understood a truth that we often forget. The mind that wants the thing is often the very thing that prevents the thing from appearing. The ego, the doubt, the fear, the noise. To manifest truly, you must first clear the space. You must become a vessel of light. The pages are thick and yellowed. There are diagrams here that look like crossword puzzles. These are the magic squares of Abraham Lynn. Each square is a formula, a way of binding the chaotic forces of the world, what the book calls demons, and making them serve the higher will. But here is the key. You cannot command the demons until you have spoken with your holy guardian angel. This is the core of the manifestation. The holy guardian angel is not a being outside of you. It is your highest self, the part of you that is already connected to the divine, the part of you that already is what you wish to become. Close your eyes. Imagine a figure standing behind you. You cannot see their face, but you can feel their presence. It is a presence of absolute love, absolute peace, absolute certainty. This figure places their hands on your shoulders. Feel the weight of their hands. It is a weight that takes away all your own weight. It is a touch that silences all your questions. You do not need to struggle, the figure whispers. You do not need to search. You only need to be. In the Abrahamlin system, once you have achieved this union, the manifestation happens automatically. You don't ask for things. You simply intend them. And the magic squares, the structure of reality, rearrange themselves to match your will. It is the ultimate manifestation. It is the manifestation of the manifester. The Abrahamlin operation is a journey into the inner desert, a place where everything that is not your true self is burned away by the sun of truth. Imagine you are walking across a vast, white desert. The sand is like salt. The sky is a deep indigo blue. There is no wind. There is no sound. Only your footsteps. As you walk, you feel the layers of your identity falling away. Your name, your job, your history, your worries. They are like old, heavy clothes that you are dropping on the sand. One by one, they fall, until you are left with nothing but the core of your being, a single point of consciousness, a vessel of light. In the distance, you see a small oasis, a single palm tree, a single pool of clear water. You walk toward it. You kneel at the edge of the pool. Look into the water. You do not see your own face. You see the face of your holy guardian angel, a face of pure light, a face of pure love. The angel speaks, not with words, but with a feeling that fills your entire being. You are complete, the feeling says. You are whole. You are enough. Drink from the pool. Feel the water of grace fill you. From this moment on, you do not need to try to manifest. You only need to allow. The seventh text is the shortest, and yet it is the foundation of everything we have discussed tonight. It is carved into a single slab of green stone. The emerald tablet, Tabula Smaragdina. The legend says it was found in a cave, in the hands of the mummified body of Hermes Trismegistus himself. Whether it is 3,000 years old or 1,300, its message is eternal. That which is below is like that which is above, and that which is above is like that which is below. To do the miracles of one only thing. As above, so below. This is the law of resonance. If you change the above the mind, the spirit, the imagination, the below, the physical world must change. It is not a choice. It is a law. Like gravity, like light. The tablet tells us that the universe is a single thing. There is no separation between your thought and the object you desire. They are made of the same substance, the prima materia, the first matter. Imagine a large, calm ocean. You are a wave on that ocean. The thing you want is another wave. You think you are separate, but you are both the ocean. To manifest, you don't need to reach across the water to the other wave. You only need to change the vibration of the ocean beneath you. If you create a ripple of having, that ripple will travel through the entire ocean until it reaches the other wave. And then the other wave will become having too. Its father is the sun, its mother the moon. The wind hath carried it in its belly. The earth is its nurse. The emerald tablet is not just a text. It is a map of the alchemical process. The process of turning the lead of our ordinary lives into the gold of our highest potential. Imagine you are a piece of dark, heavy metal. You are sitting in a crucible, a small, heat-resistant bowl. Below the crucible, a fire is burning. It is the fire of intention. As the fire grows hotter, you begin to melt. The hardness of your current life, the rigid patterns, the stuck beliefs, they all begin to dissolve. You become liquid. You become fluid. You become open to change. In this liquid state, the impurities begin to rise to the surface. The doubt, the fear, the old stories. Watch them as they burn away. Watch them as they turn into smoke and vanish into the air. Now the fire changes. It becomes a soft, golden light. This is the light of manifestation. As the liquid metal cools, it begins to take on the properties of this light. It becomes bright. It becomes valuable. It becomes gold. This gold is the new you, the version of you that has already achieved the manifestation. Feel the weight of this gold in your heart. It is a weight of worth. It is a weight of presence. Manifestation is a birth. It requires the fire of the sun, the water of the moon, the air of the wind, and the solid ground of the earth. The 8th book is more modern, but it contains the essence of the ancient Hermetic wisdom. The title, The Kybalion, published in 1908 by the 3 Initiates. It distills the thousands of pages of the Forbidden Library into 7 simple principles, 7 keys that unlock the doors of reality. The first principle is the most important. The principle of mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is mental. If the universe is a mind, then changing your mind is the same as changing the universe. The second principle, the principle of correspondence. As above, so below. The third, the principle of vibration. Nothing rests Everything moves, everything vibrates. To manifest, you must change your vibration to match the vibration of what you seek. The fourth, the principle of polarity. Everything has its opposite. Poverty and wealth are just two ends of the same stick. You don't need to find a new stick. You only need to slide your hand toward the other end. The fifth, the principle of rhythm. Everything flows out and in, like the tides, like your breath. The sixth, the principle of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. There is no such thing as chance. And the seventh, the principle of gender. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Creation requires both. The seed and the soil, the spark and the womb. The Kybalion tells us that we live in a universe of planes. Not just the physical plane, but the mental plane and the spiritual plane. And that to manifest, we must learn to rise in the planes. Imagine you are standing at the base of a great crystal mountain. The mountain is so tall that its peak is hidden in the clouds. This is the mountain of the All. You begin to climb. With every step, the air becomes thinner and clearer. The weight of the physical world, the needs of the body, the demands of the day, they begin to fade. You are moving from the physical plane to the mental plane. Halfway up the mountain, you stop. You look down. You see your life spread out below you like a map. You see the patterns. You see the cycles. From this height, you can see how a single change in your thought can change everything on the map. Now you continue to climb. You enter the clouds. The air is no longer air. It is light. You are moving from the mental plane to the spiritual plane. Here there is no you and the thing you want. is only the all, and the all is already everything. Rest here for a moment. At the peak of the mountain, feel the absolute unity of all things. Your intention is not something you are trying to get from the universe. It is something you are recognizing as already being a part of you. As you descend, you bring this recognition with you, back down through the clouds, back down the crystal slopes, back to the base of the mountain. But you are not the same person who started the climb. You are someone who has seen the peak. The ninth book. Wait. I see a name I did not notice before. It is written in a script that seems to move when I blink. It is your name. Do not be alarmed. This wall is not just a list of those who have been here. It is a map of those who are destined to be here. Your presence tonight was not an accident. You were called by the same frequency that called Dee and Bruno and Agrippa. Let us pause for a moment of silence. A silence to honor the names. A silence to honor the knowledge. The ninth book is not a book of words at all. It is a book of light. The title, The Secret of the Golden Flower. Ti Aichen Huatsung Che. An ancient Chinese manual of internal alchemy. It teaches the circulation of the light, a way of turning the attention backward into the center of the self until a golden flower blooms in the darkness. This flower is the seed spirit, the point where the human and the divine meet. In the secret of the golden flower, the core practice is the backward flowing. Instead of letting our energy flow outward into the world of objects and desires, we turn it back toward the source. Imagine a single bright point of light in the center of your forehead, the third eye. Now imagine that light is a liquid gold. Let the liquid gold flow backward through the center of your head, down the back of your neck, down your spine, into the lower dantian, the center of your belly. Here the light pools. It becomes a warm, glowing sun in the center of your being. This is the seed of the golden flower. As you breathe, the sun begins to expand. It fills your belly. It fills your chest. It fills your limbs. It becomes a flower of light that blooms within you. A flower with 1,000 petals. Every petal is a possibility. Every petal is a manifestation. You don't need to choose one. You are the flower. You are the garden. You are the light. When the golden flower blooms, manifestation is no longer something you do. It is something you are. The light within you shines outward, and the world reflects that light back to you in the form of the things, the people, and the experiences you desire. It is the end of the search, the end of the struggle, the beginning of the peace. The names on this wall, they are all seekers of the golden flower. They are all architects of the memory palace. They are all weavers of the astral thread. Ron, Alina, Bruce, Michelle, and you. You are here. The doors are closed. The books are open. The secrets are yours. Let the light of the golden flower fill this room. Let it fill your mind. Let it fill your dreams. The books are closed. The secrets are safe. You are safe. Drifting, falling, letting go. Sleep now. Sleep. Sleep.